keeping with Cold Crash Pictures tradition, I'm going to show you all 10 films that made it onto my top 10 list, all at once, right up front, so that nobody's blindsided by any of my selections or omissions at the end of the video. So here they are. Okay, so right off the bat we see some notable absences. American Sniper didn't make the cut. Neither did Veronica Mars, The Lego Movie, A Most Violent Year, or Edge of Tomorrow. Even though I really liked each one of those, I also liked various aspects of Noah, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, The Equalizer, Boyhood, and Beyond the Lights. Enough to give them all shoutouts here, but none of those were my favorites either. Ultimately, none of the films that I've mentioned so far have been able to capture the— Wait, what? RoboCop? A long-delayed remake of a 1980s action movie that the director may have called the worst professional experience of his life made it onto my top 10 list, but not Marvel's funniest and most popular movie since Iron Man?
That's a fake laugh.
See, internet, this is where you gotta hold on and let me explain. Number 10, RoboCop. Why RoboCop? Because I liked it. Is it high art? No, but it's a semi-decent social metaphor wrapped up in some inventive action set pieces and a robust sense of humor.
We are going to make a lot of money.
Back when the film first came out, everybody was debating the ethics of military drones. Fast forward 1 year later, and now everybody's talking about police brutality and police judgment. This film quite neatly dramatizes both issues. The character's quest to build the perfect cop is not unlike what our society is trying to do right now. Although granted, we haven't tried cybernetics yet. Or have we? It's not exactly Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. It doesn't propose any solutions, we're not supposed to learn anything from it. But I personally consider that one of the film's strengths. It's admirably unpretentious.
Carol, look at me. You have two options. Option one.
You bet your ass I'm excited for Chappie. If I had to be honest, I would say that the number 10 spot on my list could have easily gone to either RoboCop or Guardians of the Galaxy. But Guardians has one huge glaring flaw, which I feel can only be noted in any substantial way by excluding it from my list. And that huge glaring flaw is this: the plot of Guardians is completely insubstantial.
I have part of a plan.
Don't get me wrong, the characterization is awesome, some of the best in the MCU even, but the plot is only about as noteworthy as that of Thor 2. Number 9. Fury. So pretty much every single World War II film ever made in the last 17 years has done its damnedest to replicate the style, the tone, and the emotional impact of Saving Private Ryan. Fury is the film that I believe comes closest without feeling like a total ripoff. Logan Lerman plays a military typist who's thrust into the middle of the tightest tank crew of the European theater, most likely due to a clerical error.
How long you been in the army?
8 weeks.
He is then baptized in the fires of combat, and he has to choose at the end of the film whether or not he's as committed to the cause as the rest of the crew.
Oh, fuck, I want to surrender.
Please don't.
Yes, I know, that's basically Opham's exact story from Saving Private Ryan. I'm not denying the fact that Fury wears its artistic influences on its sleeves, but it also concentrates really hard on doing its own thing, and it really shows in the details. And to anyone wondering if Brad Pitt still has muscles, Number 8. Begin Again.
Give me a name of one artist that you think passes your authenticity test.
Dylan.
Dylan. That is the most cultivated artist you could have thought of. Look at his hair, his sunglasses. He changes his look every decade.
Randy Newman.
Love Randy Newman. Okay, you got me on that.
Anyone want to guess why I sparked to the movie about the 20-something lost in the big city trying to make her way as an artist? Yeah. Even if you didn't know that Keira Knightley and Mark Ruffalo are two of my favorite living actors, the log line alone is more than enough to get my ass in the seat. Add to that a fantastic script, and a soundtrack that I haven't been able to stop playing for the last 6 months, and you've got my number 8 selection on this year's list.
And I have loved you like a fool.
Number 7. Selma.
Recite the Constitution's preamble. You know what a preamble is?
We the people of the United States in order to form a more perfect union.
How many county judges in Alabama?
67.
Name them.
Good God, what a brilliant biopic. Where the plot is not the directionless cop-out of the life of the character, but rather one simple, cohesive slice of it. And not the most solemn or iconic moment of the main character's life either, but the most dramatic bit of it.
May I have a word?
There's no word to be had.
After all, no matter how solemn or sacred the subject, we all go to the theater to hear a story, not a sermon. Even if the story actually depicts a sermon or two.
I do not have command of my own life.
I'm having too much fun with this. Long story short, Selma is an exciting, cathartic, clever, intriguing, and impeccably performed biopic which manages to avoid all the typical pratfalls of the genre. Perhaps most notably, it very clearly and masterfully delineates the parts of it that are undoubtedly true and the parts that are the result of the artistic interpretations of the filmmakers. Number 6. The Grand Budapest Hotel.
The police are here. They asked for you. Tell them I'll be right down.
You know what I love so much about this movie? This shot.
She's been murdered. And you think I did it.
For those of you wondering, that shot sums up the entire plot of the whole film. Ralph Fiennes is accused of a murder he didn't commit, and he spends half the film on the run, trying to prove his innocence. I don't consider myself even a lukewarm fan of Wes Anderson's body of work, having only kind of enjoyed one other film of his, but Grand Budapest got me good. I enjoyed pretty much everything about this film. Its sense of humor,
I don't know what sort of cream they've put on you down at the morgue, but I want some.
its playfulness, its gravity, and its resolution. In particular, I love the alternate reality World War II era Europe that Anderson has built, complete with faux Nazis and inexplicably ubiquitous American accents. Bill Murray cameos never hurt either.
Get in!
Or almost never.
Best day ever. Greatest day of my life, really.
Number 5. 300. Rise of an Empire.
I hear it and I don't care.
Regular viewers should know by now that I believe there's a time and a place for everything. Sometimes you want grilled flank steak. Sometimes you want cheese from a can. Rise of an Empire knows exactly what it is. It nails the eye-popping fight choreography and the visual stylings of its predecessor, but it also strips the property of its downright painful sense of self-importance.
Spartans.
Also, evergreen! Evergreen, evergreen, evergreen. By far the best thing about the film, and one of the more compelling badass villains of 2014. Her apple scene is worth the price of admission alone.
But my heart is Persian.
Number 4. Whiplash.
There's no fucking Mars bar down there. What are you looking at? Look up here. Look at me. Do you think you're out of tune?
Yes. Then why the fuck didn't you say so?
I sparked to this film not least of all because I grew up on the stage, and while I didn't have any instructors throwing symbols at me during that time, I totally get the central struggle that this kid is going through. The central paradox of any artistic pursuit, really. That of refusing to give up on your dreams, even though, by definition, dreams are something that only a few people ever achieve, and everybody else is working just as hard as you, if not harder, to achieve their own. That's the real source of conflict here, not J.K. Simmons. Or not entirely, anyway.
For the record, Mets wasn't out of tune.
Alright, J.K. Simmons is probably the best thing about this movie. Number 3. Interstellar.
We are lined up. Initiating spin!
Allow me to recount the plot of Interstellar for you.
I'm gonna get on this spaceship.
and I'm gonna go to Blargon 7 in search of alternative fuels.
All kidding aside, well, no, most kidding aside, Chris Nolan proves with Interstellar that his films are much more than the sums of all their parts. I believe this is actually one of his more Swiss cheesy films, with more apparent plot holes and unanswered questions than even Dark Knight Rises, but I still love it anyway. Never have I valued the intent of a film more than I did with Interstellar. Normally, intent is just an excuse for a filmmaker, not a virtue. But look at what Nolan's intent did here. Sure, it sidestepped things like in-depth analyses of the chemical compositions of the atmospheres of its made-up planets, which I would have enjoyed. And the film sure spent a lot of time referring to off-screen shit, which made it hard to follow at times. Wait, Matt Damon is in this? But what it does focus on is still really rather impressive.
Hey, Dad. You once told me that when you came back we might be the same age. Today's my birthday. I'm the age you were when you left. So it'd be a real good time for you to come back.
Number 2. Birdman.
Oh, I'm sorry if I'm popular, Mike. You know, I don't give a shit. Popularity is the slutty little cousin of prestige, my friend.
Okay, I don't even know what the fuck that means, so.
This is one of those films that I enjoy so much, it makes it harder to even describe why. First of all, it's all about the creation of art, which is a subject that I am a sucker for. And it dramatizes all the struggles of such a pursuit so wonderfully, going way beyond just the 1 or 2 inherent struggles depicted in a film like Whiplash. As an artist, you're always telling yourself that your ideas are big enough to share with the world, but you're also crippled by this worry about who would actually care about anything that you have to say.
It's not important, okay? You're not important. Get used to it.
Writers are really a lot like egomaniacs with low self-esteem. Yes, that's right, another day, another artistic paradox. Why do you think William Goldman said that the easiest thing in the world to do is not write? As an artist, you also worry about legacy, and why you don't have any control over what people are going to remember you for.
No, absolutely not, absolutely not. That's why 20 years ago I said no to Birdman 4. That's why.
Hold the man for!
Critics suck.
Labels. These are just all labels. You just label everything.
Birdman has it all, and it's got that great one-shot gimmick going for it too. Although it's not really a gimmick. A major thematic component of the film is the search for the division between art and real life. Likewise, the single tracking shot was digitally stitched together from multiple takes, and I was left wondering where the seams were.
Provocative.
Number 1. Nightcrawler.
My motto is, if you want to win the lottery, you have to make the money to buy a ticket. So what do you say? I could start tomorrow, or even why not tonight?
No.
How about an internship then? A lot of young people are taking unpaid positions to get a foot in the door. That's something I'd be willing to do.
I'm not hiring a fucking thief.
I don't commend performances very often on this vlog, but I really think that this is the most dementedly engaging caricature of a sociopath that we've seen in a film since probably Patrick Bateman. The dude does not do sympathy. It's the one thing he couldn't learn from the internet. On top of Gyllenhaal's performance, there's the script. The plotting, the pacing, the tension that pulls every single scene as tight as a snare drum. The surprising but logical plot twists that you didn't see coming but make perfect sense in hindsight. You lay down that foundation, and you add to it the best indictment of LA fame culture since Collateral, and you're basically guaranteeing yourself the top spot on my list.